Hey gang, Brian coming at you with some BSD boxes. Over the last year, I've tried out lots of BSD on a random sample of Facebook Marketplace available hardware. I got hooked on GhostBSD when it made a desktop server for a work project. From there, I brought GhostBSD home to some legacy hardware and was rather shocked when it ran a reasonable desktop. With perhaps too much confidence from successes with the FreeBSD backed system, I recently started exploring the desktop space with OpenBSD and NetBSD. The world economies would love for you and everyone else to just buy a new computer, but I think that the majority of folks would like to spend less and enjoy the tech that they have purchased longer. I've had measurable success with tech ranging from 2009 to 2017. When it comes to what is available in the used marketplaces, Facebook, Kijiji, eBay, or otherwise, there are amazing deals available for the patient buyer. The best system that I've seen on Marketplace was around $500 for 24 cores and 192 gigs of RAM in some retired server. I was tempted, but I didn't want to set up a rack or pay the electrical for 1,000 plus watts of power supplies. I budgeted myself to bargains under $50. After a couple of sweet deals, I started to feel like I was really paying the person to show up and give me some nifty hardware more than I was paying for the equipment. When I started this last year, there were not so many systems with 16 gigs of RAM available for under $100, but there sure are now. These are just a few of the use cases I'm going to look at as we discuss the BSD boxes ahead. We're going to run from oldest to newest. Had to take a little bit of time to get all my slides in order and do some research on the equipment I had, but running up at 2009 was an Apple iMac 24-inch dual core. Amazing screen, decent built-in sound system, a pleasure to surf the web, listen to tunes, doesn't need anything, clean desktop, classic. Also grabbed the Dell 780 2010 model. In the photo there, it's the top box and the right screen. I actually put NetBSD on this one just to try it out. We're running XFCE on NetBSD. Cool little desktop. Before I change slides, the first free box that I tried GhostBSD on is actually the black StarTech case underneath that Dell. We'll talk about it more in just a moment. That free Frankenstein box has an Asus Striker Formula 2 motherboard in it. What's great about a computer that you didn't pay for and you don't actually need is that you can try anything on it. This machine churned Boink projects and provided me a remote desktop gateway into my home network for several months. Recently, though, I shifted it over to a FreeBSD stable 14 desktop following weekly builds. Slow and steady is what I like to think. These next two boxes are kind of cool. The HP T520 1032. 6 gigs of RAM, 2 terabyte hard drive. I got GhostBSD XFCE on it. We use it in the kitchen at my home. We got Google up on there. We've transitioned to Google Meet. Sorry, not Meet. Google Keep for our shared notes, grocery list, week plans, and a shared calendar for the household. Great little all-in-one machine. I'm looking for something a little nicer, a little smaller scale than this, but for $35, $40, you can't go wrong. The other item I got in that 2012-2011 era is a Lenovo M92P. This is the only machine that I had any GhostBSD challenges on, but not because of GhostBSD. The Lenovo of this era demands a master boot record while pretending to accept UEFI boot records. The Nomad BSD installer actually has a little checkbox specifically called Lenovo Fix, and it forces a master boot record on that drive. Nomad BSD, great little familiar FreeBSD backend and XFCE interface. Couple more BSD boxes. 2014-2015. An HP T620 thin client. Perhaps this was my lesson in not judging a fish by its ability to climb a tree. I had hoped the HP T620 could be a nice TV box, but it definitely struggled to decode anything above 720p content. It's still great for 720, and it's great for a little office portable box, but that's about where it limits out. The Dell 9020 micro form factor. Absolutely great little box. Love them. I've actually picked up 3 of these units, each with 8 gigs of RAM and 128 gig solid state hard drive, all in $120, right in that $40 a unit point. I initially made these a cluster. I wanted GhostBSD as a primary and FreeBSD on the other 2. My big interest was, can I run the same software on a couple of FreeBSD release machines and have it synchronized somewhat gracefully with a FreeBSD backed GhostBSD stable box? The answer was yes. It was a resounding success. But needs changed quickly. One of these machines was turned into an application server. Another one of them was turned back into a desktop and given to my son. And the last one is one of my TV boxes successfully streaming and decoding 1080p content. As you might imagine, it was starting to get to be a lot of computers around the house, and after some criticism from the fam, I decided it was time to invest in a workstation and replaced as much test hardware as I could. I picked up a couple of HP Z workstations. My current daily drive is the Z4 Intel Xeon, and soon to be web server desktop storage is a Z240 running an Intel i7. This is definitely not a $50 box, but I got them at what I feel is a steal, coming in with 32 gigs of RAM and a 512 gig NVMe in each for $200 and $300 respectively. With the Z4 as my daily driver for the last couple of weeks, I've experimented with virtualized pipelines for a FreeBSD stable with XFCE desktop environment, as well as mirroring GhostBSD's own development and having a GhostBSD build environment that tracks source, builds, goes through kernel installs to get better familiar with the project. What's to come for the Z240? More on that in future editions. If you're interested in learning more about BSD, give GhostBSD a try and let us know how it goes and what you think. There's always room for more in the GhostBSD forums. I regularly contribute to the Snapshot series and GhostBSD Con efforts. I have a passion for user testing and user ideation. A big fan of minimalist desktop design. Anyways, connect with myself or any of the GhostBSD community in the forums, on Telegram, or even check us out on IRC. Alright, last but not least, I want to throw out a personal thank you to Mr. GhostBSD. Eric, thank you. I'm a big fan of what GhostBSD is doing. Keep it up. Also, I want to shout out to Ben, Fred, Joe, Vic, and too many other voices to list for always sharing their perspectives, encouraging learning, and entertaining any and all of the wild questions we see in Telegram and the forums. Y'all are a great example of an open source community. Thank you.